this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, I just want to give a special shout out to the California Reparations Task Force members. They are one group of black people who have actually got something going. At least they've got something on the table. Now, the governor of California, the California Assembly, were always going to give them a hard time. They still just want to throw some scholarships at you, or they want to give you a housing allowance or something like that and call it a day. So these people have stuck to their guns. They made it lineage-based as opposed to race-based. So they've got it going. One minute you think the governor and the California Assembly are going to go along and cut the check, and then the next minute they've thrown a wrench in it. Now, that was always going to be the case. It was never going to be easy. Now, this is how I look at the California Reparations Initiative. They are setting a precedent for reparations for descendants of slavery in the United States. So I feel like it has to go through all of this blood and guts. I think they have to do it so they can set a precedent for when other states do it, because eventually all of them are going to have to address it. So I am not surprised, but I'm disappointed that it's taken this long, just like everybody else, because the sooner they can get their money, the sooner it'll get on the table for the rest of us. Not surprisingly, they had a setback last Saturday. California lawmakers passed just one part of reparations legislation. California lawmakers passed just one part of a 3-bill package addressing reparations for slavery and racism in the waning days of their State House session amid reports the governor had raised concerns. Dozens of demonstrators arrived to support the measure proposed by Senator Stephen Bradford late Saturday, the last day of the State Assembly session. The bills were moved to the inactive file shortly before the session ended. Earlier last week, a bill on land restitution that is part of the package passed 56-0. It was unclear how that measure could be implemented without the other two, one creating a fund and the third an agency to determine matters such as who would be eligible for reparations. Well, see, I thought they had already determined that. I thought they already said that it was lineage-based. The Sacramento Bee quoted sources as saying that Governor Gavin Newsom's administration proposed dropping the implementing agency but setting aside $6 million for university researchers to study reparations and recommend a way to determine eligibility. So see, trying to put some non-black people in the pipeline to get some money. University researchers, really? The changes would have removed the substance of what we were trying to do, Bradford, a Democrat, told Reuters, adding that the administration had expressed fiscal concerns. Newsom, a Democrat who had expressed support for reparations legislation broadly in July, set aside $12 million for reparations initiatives. A recent government analysis projected the cost of the agency Bradford proposed to be between $3 and $5 million. Newsom's office would not comment. Well, we can figure out pretty much what happened. White people feel like they got to get their hands in anything to do with black people. So instead of letting the task force set up the agency to implement the land or however the initiative is going to go, they got to throw some white people in it. Gavin Newsom has shown the most support for reparations for slavery than any governor in the United States of America, but he's still a politician, and even in this reparations, it comes down to politics. The agency Bradford proposed would have been in charge of implementing the recommendations of the California Reparations Task Force, which spent 2 years studying the state's history of slavery and subsequent decades of racial violence, political disenfranchisement, and racially exclusionary legislation. And I hope people who are screaming reparations, reparations, reparations are listening. They spent 2 years studying the state's history of slavery, subsequent decades of racial violence, political disenfranchisement, and racially exclusionary legislation. That is how they got the thing on the table in the first place. Not by screaming reparations. And even though California was legally not a slave state, they practiced slavery. If somebody owned slaves in Texas and moved to California, that person could keep those slaves and treat them as slaves. So they practiced in it even though it was not legally recognized by the state government. According to a task force report, between 500 and 1,500 enslaved African Americans lived in California during the gold rush in the 1840s and 1850s, although slavery was illegal in the state. Everyone assumed the bills were going to be brought to vote. Kamala Moore, lawyer and former chair of the task force, told Reuters, internal divisions got in the way. The legislature did pass 8 other bills which were part of a separate reparations package presented by the Black Caucus, which included measures against discrimination of natural hairstyles and requiring grocery stores in underserved communities to notify the state if they plan to close. Newsom has until the end of the month to sign the bills into law. Well, the brothers and sisters in California are on the move. I take off my hat to them. I have tremendous respect for them. I don't know how much good the demonstrators showing up helped. I don't know if it helped, if it made a difference. It certainly showed that the people are not indifferent, that they are behind the legislation. But to be honest, I don't believe that people coming inside the chambers of a legislative body and demonstrating moves legislation. I have never seen it happen. I am of the opinion that before it's over, America is going to have to be shamed into paying reparations to Black American descendants of slavery, because they have it in their minds that they shouldn't have to do it. And California really is leading this. And I'm really surprised it's gotten as far as it has. But I really, really am happy that it has. And I believe that the way they're doing it in California is the right way to do it. They stuck to their guns. They said it was going to be lineage-based, not race-based, because everybody wants to get their hands in the pot. But they stuck to their guns. So I believe they know what they're doing, and I believe they will get that other part passed. The fact that they wouldn't back down, and I don't think they will back down. I think that they will let the governor know that we don't need college professors to come in here and mess this up, because that's all they're going to do. But anyway, y'all, let me know what you think about this. I really, really applaud those California renegades out there. They're going to get their reparations. They're going to get it. And they're going to get it by following a process and sticking with it, following the law, and working with the legislature. That's how the bill will be passed. Not in the streets, not on the internet, in the state legislatures and in the United States Congress. That's where it's going to be passed and nowhere else. Okay, thank you for listening and have a good evening.